Did the world just watch Cristiano Ronaldo play his last World Cup? 90 minutes on the clock. Portugal are chasing a game they can't quite find. Spain move the ball forward one more time. A pass slides between two tired defenders. The net ripples. The whistle blows for a goal that isn't Portugal's. Full time. Portugal not, Spain won. The round of 16, the tournament's second knockout stage, is over for Portugal. Somewhere on that pitch, a 41-year-old man in a Portugal shirt stands still a beat longer than everyone else around him. No trophy lift, no farewell lap, no microphone shoved in his face for a scripted goodbye speech. Just a scoreline and a long walk back down the tunnel. You'd expect a story like his to end with fireworks. This one ended almost in silence in July 2026, and plenty of people watching didn't even clock what they'd just seen. Because this wasn't just another early exit, this was Cristiano Ronaldo's 6th World Cup. Only a handful of men in the sport's long history have ever played in 5 different World Cups. Ronaldo had just become one of the very first to reach a 6th. Most players never get close. Injuries end careers early. Form dips at the wrong moment, and a place in the squad quietly disappears. National teams move on to younger legs long before a player turns 30. Let alone 41. How does a career even last that long? Most professional footballers retire in their early to mid-30s, once knees and hips and lungs start negotiating with willpower and losing. Ronaldo built his whole career on refusing that negotiation. Multiple training sessions most days. A body fat percentage low enough that sports scientists have studied him like a research subject. Recovery routines built around cryotherapy and carefully scheduled naps. Several short ones through the day, instead of one long block at night. None of it is magic. It's relentless maintenance, repeated for more than 2 decades on a body that simply refused to agree with the calendar. Rewind to February 5th, 1985. A boy is born in Funchal on the Portuguese island of Madeira. 21 years later, that boy starts for Portugal at the 2006 World Cup in Germany. Then, 2010 in South Africa. Then 2014 in Brazil, then 2018 in Russia, then 2022 in Qatar. 5 tournaments, 5 different eras of the sport, one man lacing up his boots every single time. By 2026, he was already the record holder for something most people outside football don't realize exists. The most international goals scored by any man in the sport's history, more than 130 of them, scored across more than 2 decades. 5 Ballon d'Or trophies, the annual award for the world's best player, sit in his cabinet. 1 European Championship, won with Portugal in 2016, sits alongside them. And still, at 41, he lined up again. Getting back to a World Cup at all was never guaranteed. Portugal had ground through their own European qualifying campaign months earlier. One more set of matches in a career that had already logged hundreds of them. Group K opened quietly. A 1-1 draw against Congo DR. Then a statement. 5 goals, none conceded against Uzbekistan. Then another stalemate, 0-0 against Colombia. 5 points from 3 games was enough. Portugal finished second in their group, behind Colombia, and scraped into the knockout rounds. The round of 32, the tournament's first knockout stage, is where the story almost ended early. Croatia went ahead in the second half. Portugal chased the game, equalized, and then, in the 90th minute, snatched the winner. 2-1. Across that pitch stood Luka Modric, Croatia's own captain, born the same year as Ronaldo, 1985. A name that had trailed its own retirement questions for years. One of those 2 men would get one more match. The other wouldn't. That one more match was the round of 16 against Spain. Here's what turned it from a football match into something closer to a changing of the guard. Spain's forward that night was 18-year-old Lamine Yamal. When Yamal was born in the summer of 2007, Ronaldo had already been a professional footballer for close to 5 years. He'd already left Portugal. He was already scoring goals for Manchester United in the Premier League. A teenager who wasn't alive yet when Ronaldo turned pro was now lining up to end his World Cup career. By 18, Yamal already had a European Championship winner's medal from 2024 and a string of youngest ever records most players never come close to touching across a full career. On Portugal's side of the same pitch, Bruno Fernandes marshaled the midfield the way he had in every one of these matches, the clearest sign yet of who the team's next chapter will run through. Spain dominated the ball the way their generation of teenagers and 20-somethings had dominated it all tournament. Portugal defended, absorbed, waited for one more late piece of magic. It almost came. It didn't. In the 90th minute, for the second match in a row, a goal arrived right at the death. This time, it went the other way. Why does an ending like this feel bigger than just one lost football match? Because we tend to assume a career like this should close with a clean, cinematic final whistle. One last kiss of the badge, one lap of the stadium while a crowd chants a name for the last time. That's the ending a movie would write. Real endings almost never look like that. Most careers, most relationships, most chapters of anyone's life don't close with a bow on top. They close on an ordinary night, in stoppage time, with half the people watching not even sure yet that they've just seen the last of something. One day you're still doing the thing. The next, with no ceremony announcing it, you simply aren't anymore. Think about the last time that happened to you without your noticing. The last time a parent carried you. The last ordinary day at a job you didn't yet know you were about to leave. We almost never get advance notice for the moments that turn out to matter most. So what actually happens next? Nobody has to announce anything the day it happens, and athletes rarely do. Some go quiet for months before any decision becomes official. Some simply stop appearing in national team squads and let the silence answer the question for them. At 41, with the next World Cup 4 years away in 2030, the math alone makes another international recall close to impossible. But being unlikely and being finished are two very different things. And so far, nobody has actually said the second one out loud. What we do know stands on steadier ground. His club career in Saudi Arabia, with Al Nassr, continues regardless of what happens at international level. There are still goals to chase, still league records within reach, still a business built around his name, from fragrances to a chain of hotels, running whether or not he ever wears the Portugal shirt again. There's a life waiting outside football entirely, one that doesn't care which competition he plays next. And whatever he decides, the Yamals of the world keep playing World Cups long after this one stops trending. That's not a tragedy. That's just how every sport and every generation has always worked. The truth underneath all of it is simpler than any transfer rumor. You don't get to pick the moment your own final whistle blows. Nobody does. There's no warning 90 minutes before the thing you love most quietly ends. All you get to choose is how hard you play in the minutes before you find out they were your last. In July 2026, a 41-year-old man walked off a football pitch for what might have been the final time in a World Cup shirt. He didn't know for certain it was the last whistle. Neither did we. Maybe that's exactly why it mattered.